Well, it's the beginning of another week here at the Dry Docks. You're here with Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy, and
Logan.
And this is the beginning of our weekly update video. If this is the first time here, this is what we do to let you know what we are up to. This is all about RC submarines, and we hope you enjoy it. So hey guys, before we get into this week's video, I've got a little bit of a PSA, public service announcement to you from the team at the Nautilus Dry Docks. If you are watching this, I'm hoping you enjoy the video content that we put out. One of the things that we are going to be doing in an effort to drive membership in our DiveTribe, which has massive value, by the way, we are actually going to be delaying the public rollout of all of our videos for 2 weeks, except for those people who are DiveTribe members. That's right. If you're a DiveTribe member, you get instant access, immediate, when these videos go up. But if not, you got to wait 2 weeks to find out what the heck is going on here at the shop. Our membership levels range from $10 a year up to $150 a year, but $10 a year, there's a lot of value there. All the information's on my website. I'll put the link in the description. You can take a look, figure it out if it's worth it or not. You'll still get the content, but you just gotta wait. The only thing that's important though, sometimes I highlight subs for sale and upcoming products. You don't want to miss out on them because 2 weeks, it'll be gone by the time you see it. So there's value there. I hope you find value. With that, let's get on to the real stuff. So Logan had a dentist appointment first thing. That must have been exciting.
It was just a cleaning, so just kind of lost a good chunk of the day sitting in a chair, getting poked and prodded at.
Yeah. All good though. I had a chance to do a little bit of work. I got all of the orders that came about over the course of the weekend printed. We need to run to storage and grab a whole bunch of stuff so that we can ship that out. I put a new speed controller, another new speed controller. This will be the 5th speed controller in here because the angle unit was not functional. It would get locked in forward and you had to go into full reverse to stop it. It was working perfectly on the bench, as you guys saw, and just spontaneously decided to change. I just put a new one in, tested it. It's working on the bench. And as you saw last week, well, the other thing that we need to do is increase the flow of water that is allowed to get into the motors. And to that effect, a couple of things. So these holes are in the bottom of the boat. I did not drill this in the top. This is in the bottom of the boat. These are the same diameter as the intakes in there. So in and of themselves, these should allow sufficient water flow. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to open up the outside of these vents, which will probably increase the volume of water through here by at least 50% for each one. So I think between that and that, we should have enough flow. Now, some of you guys had a really awesome idea about putting these windows on like a hinge so that when the suction started, the windows would basically flip in. That's a really cool idea, except that now we've got props, and so we can actually reverse. And so they would have to actually be double hinged, and then they would end up just kind of flapping around as opposed to kind of locking in place in the down position because they would block the flow in reverse. So that would not be good. So we elected to go with this, and we're just going to try it and see if it works. We'll see. Other thing I did on the battle boats, I went ahead and double checked the contacts for the one boat that was not resetting properly after it got flooded. That's all been fixed, so that's good to go. Focus today, Logan's probably going to work on Kilo by the looks of it, right?
Yeah, I'm super close. I had a couple annoying things where a bunch of my weights fell out, but it's not easy to stick them back in. But once I have my hold down done, it's all cosmetics.
There we go. And then Flying Sub. That will clean off the bench, and that will allow me to put the next projects on here. So let's see what we can make happen today. Well, that will teach me. Never, ever tempt karma. So you'll have noticed we finished off yesterday in the morning. Promptly after that, I was struck with a massive stomach flu. And it is now Wednesday morning. I am still not remotely close to 100%. That was a nasty bug. Knocked me out all Monday, all day yesterday. And I don't know. We'll see how today goes. But yeah, that'll teach me to think that things are on the upswing. Anyhow, we're continuing to forge ahead. Flying sub. So, you can see everything is all reinstalled here, and you'll see the glint of something new in the bottom there. So if we spin this bad boy around, you'll see a couple of things that we've done. So there's now a much, much larger opening in here. We've got some stainless steel mesh behind there. So lots more flow than what used to happen. But primarily, though, the increase in flow is going to come from the bottom. And I got 3 large intakes, again, with stainless steel mesh in there. Now, some of you suggested opening up this area right here, and it is. You can actually see it's kind of already opened up. But basically, each one of those holes is equivalent to the intake of the propeller shrouds. So 2 of them equals that, plus we've got an extra one, plus we've got the intakes in the front. So, in theory, we should have enough flow to not starve the propellers when we test the boat. And hopefully that'll occur here later this morning. We'll see how things go. Now, one of the interesting things about the placement of those intakes in the bottom is that when you reverse the propellers, it's going to suck water into the hull, and that needs to be discharged somewhere. So not only is it going to push the boat backwards from up here, but it'll also lift the boat upwards. So it's a little bit of a fail-safe. If you get into trouble, you can kick the boat into reverse, and not only will it stop and back up, but it will lift as well. So if you find the boat getting heavy or whatever, you just simply back up on the throttles, and it should push itself back up to the surface. Or at least that's what's supposed to happen in theory. All right, we are outside at the top secret test facility with Logan and his Kilo. This is the first kind of open water test, right?
Kind of. We've tried it before. However, the first time went catastrophically.
Okay. You've done a bunch of trimming. I've not seen it. I've not seen where the final trim ended up after you did all of this stuff. So we're going to drop it in the water. We're going to see what happens. We've got lots of goobers floating in the pool. Yuck.
Yep. It does the right lean until you kind of flood it and then refill it. So.
Oh, all right. Okay, I trust you.
Dunk it in.
Many wouldn't, but I do. Oh, look at that. Just straighten right up.
Looks like it's got a little bit of air in the front.
Whoa.
A little bit of a kick to it.
Wow, look at it go.
Come on. Up. Up. Oh dear.
And the ballast isn't working.
Yeah.
It needs a little bit of weight in the front, I think, or just a tiny bit of foam in the back.
Yeah, back doesn't seem to work so good, but forward it goes freaking fast. Hey, go backward. It's got a lot of power.
Yeah, and the thing about that older radio is that you can't really adjust the...
Oh, it's my linkage is off as well. That's why I'm not turning so good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So that makes sense. That was just when I was installing the linkages. I didn't pay attention to that. So it's not going to turn very hot to one side. Throttle's out, but I still have control.
You have your dive planes?
Yep. You can see I'm
That's
wiggling.
rudder. What about? Oh yeah, they're dive planes. Okay. You got no throttle.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
What a fun boat this has been.
No, go fetch it.
Mhm.
This is what happens when you build RC submarines. So this thing is doing... There's something up with the ESC. It just like stopped working and now it's randomly beeping. And... Was that a BL Heli ESC in there? One of the little postage stamp ones? Huh. All right, well, we'll have to pull it apart. Put a new ESC in it. That's exciting. And then this, we got to figure out something with the switch too. Because it's sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's not feasible. All right, just because we haven't had enough disappointment yet today, we're going to put the Flying Sub in the water and see what happens with everything. At this point, my expectations are about yay big, but at least that way we can't be disappointed. One quick thing I want to show. I intentionally canted both of these rudders inward. And the reason for that is they don't come into play until they actually enter the jet stream. And so I want them to hit sooner. And so I've got them both canted inward just slightly. So now they enter that stream a lot more aggressively than they did before. And now we have reverse too. So who knows? We'll have to see what happens. Let's throw it in the water. All right, we got perfect trim. We're moving. We're under power. It's turning. It's like it takes just a second to get spinning, but once it does, it turns really sharp, which is kind of cool. So this is about like not even a quarter throttle right now. Turn, 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 turn. Yeah, it's like it just takes a second and then it decides to turn sharp. All right, let's test out some reverse here. So this is one of those stupid ESCs you got to double tap reverse. Oh. Well, I can see it sucking water. Do you see the little
vortex
behind there? Oh, there you go. It'll back up. Oh, it blew the top off. Interesting.
That's one way to get some water in.
All right, let's try a little more throttle here.
Oh, it went down nice and easy.
This is about half throttle. It's working. It could definitely use more like downward, because it definitely wants to rise. I think honestly it needs more flow. Actually, we're going to find out for sure.
Try with the top off.
Yeah, it's still sucking the interior dry. Wow.
That's a powerful motor if it's completely emptying out. all of the water on the inside.
Hull drain's nice and fast now.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you just picked that up, but it's already dry.
More holes. This thing's gonna look like a block of Swiss cheese by the time we're done with it. So, pop the box open, just because you do that after every time you run. The ESC is warm. It's definitely warm. I mean, it's not hot. I can put my hand on it. It's not a big deal, but it's definitely working, which would make sense if these props are pulling against a vacuum, because water, as we know, is an incompressible force. And so basically it'd be the equivalent of clamping the drive shafts somewhat. So it's pulling a lot of extra. Let's take a look inside, poke around, and see what our options are. We got big holes on the sides. We got big hole here. We've got big intakes up front. I mean, I can drill more holes. One thing somebody suggested was just cutting this whole center section out. You know, like, I hesitate to cut the windows open because cosmetically,
It's kind of a signature.
yeah. Although having said that, it would give you reverse. All that water would get forced, you know, directly out the front.
But considering we're having the same problems we did, even after creating 3 holes and opening up the front, it seems like we'd have to make a drastic change for anything to actually change.
Yeah, well, I mean, this would equal about 1.5 times one of these. I'm kind of tempted to cut the windows open now that I think about it. I guess it's one of those things, is aesthetics more important or
Functionality.
function?
And if we don't fix the flow problem, it'll turn into a function problem as well as an aesthetics problem.
Yeah.
Because nothing is better than a submarine that not only doesn't work, but smells like smoke.
Yeah, not good. We got to cut these bad boys open. And then that way, you know, we've got auxiliary flow from the inside here, but we can not only suck from the front, but we can blow backwards in reverse as well. And that makes sense because when I hit reverse, it actually blew the top open, which tells me that we don't have enough flow for everything to get out otherwise. All right. Well, we're going to put some ultra super awesome clear windows in here. So clear, you're not even going to tell that they're there. All right, guys, be honest. What do you think? Does it look terrible? I don't know. I mean, I've got to obviously paint this up now, make the edges look nice, but I don't know. I think it looks okay. That hose is a little off-putting. We need to hide that hose a little better. The big question is it going to work? Is it going to work better? Let's go see. All right, we're going to give her another try here. What do you think? Make your conjectures below before you see what happens. Did that make a difference? It's got to make a difference, but how much of a difference? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Way, way better. It's a little glitchy. Oh, she stopped. She stopped right away when... Just a little glitchy from the chlorine in the pool. if we are indeed managing to pull the water. Oh, I gotta hold on to this thing. Yep. Yep, we're good now. The water level didn't drop inside, which means it's got sufficient flow to feed the props.
Probably means the strain on the ESC is gone as well.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know, I might need to put or I'll leave it up to the new owner. You know, right now it's kind of working. Actually, right now it's working. Throw it in, box, we're done. But, you know, it's the kind of thing that you can always tweak it after you've run it for a while. I think what possibly could do is add a plane out the back of these diverters to give more authority for pitch. I think it just needs a little bit more control in the pitch axis. But it's working right now, and it could just be a matter of taste. But yeah, that did it. I think we're going to work on some cosmetics now, get her back up to snuff. All right, it is afternoon, and Logan is doing some schoolwork. I am unboxing a submarine that was shipped to me for evaluation. It was a Revell Type 7, and wants to get it working. I mean, right off the bat, all the railings are completely broken off on the deck. These plastic model kits, they're a cheap way to get into the hobby, but they are not robust by any stretch of the imagination. So just bear that in mind. I'm going to crack the rest of this open. We'll see what we're actually dealing with here. So these Type 7s were actually kind of, in the day, like a gateway drug for a lot of people. Dave Merriman was manufacturing the 2-inch cylinders that would power these things. That's no longer the case. And so finding a cylinder for these little boats can be a tricky undertaking. I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, a small sub person. And I would definitely consider these to be small subs. Oh gosh, it gives me the heebie-jeebies just, oh man. This is not good. Let's see what we're dealing with. Oh. Well, it doesn't look too bad. Okay. All right. One tiny ray of hope. Okay, we have a conning tower. I just want to show you, whoever did this packing, man, they did a great job. A really, really, really good job. I assume this was probably a UPS store that did it. Whoever was doing that at that UPS store, kudos to you. Good job. Thumbs up from the RCSubGuy. So, cylinder actually looks almost brand new. For some weird reason, there is a whole bunch of cuttings inside. Interesting. No radio, so there's really no way to test it, but I guess you could, in theory, hook everything up. This is broken in the front. We're missing a torpedo shutter. This is all completely broken off, although we do have the support. Okay. But in the back, this is really chewed up pretty badly. All shattered and broken. Oh, it's still attached there. These are loose. There's this. I do have the skeg. The skeg is here. And he did send the missing universal joint, but we're missing the gear for the rudder, which is actually kind of a big deal. Because that's all engineered and everything for all of that linkage. All of the railings are sheared off here. Hello, hey. We got one more there. All of the railings from this side are missing. I mean, fixable, yeah, sure. It's all about time and money. Money doesn't appear to be the issue, but it's all about time. And as you guys know, I don't have a lot of that right now. Maybe this is a good job for Logan. He likes putting stuff back together again. I think maybe I'll sick Logan on this one. Thursday morning. And today is going to be a short day because we have to go to the passport office to get our very first U.S. passports. You got to do it in person. Can't mail it away. So it's going to take a couple hours. We've got to drive up to Conroe and do our thing. So maybe not a lot done today, but we did get some stuff done. We got the flying sub done. We did the overview video and we got it packed up. So I just got to get back in the customer and address all the paperwork with him. So that's a plus. Off the bench. No more flying sub exploding. With me, maybe it'll explode for him. I don't know. I worked a little bit on here. So both of our torpedoes for Seahoot are now sealed up. Got to bring these to the pool and pressure test them. Make sure that they are not leaking. And if they are, address them and then start working on the trimming aspect. And Logan is... get this open. There we go. Well, you started out with Kilo. You got Kilo reassembled, right?
Yep, so Kilo's got its new speed controller in it. It is actually currently set up. I've got linkages set up, check the throttle works and everything. It seems that in the process of attaching the little, don't do that, little flange front here, I knocked a bunch of the weights out. So if you look inside, the weights are really haphazardly scattered because they all kind of broke free and didn't glue down to where they used to be.
But they're in the roughly the same spot though right now.
Roughly
right?
the same position and roughly the same distribution, but we need to double check to make sure it's not wildly off because as we saw previously, it still has that really weird tendency to just swerve to the right once you put it in the water.
Until the second you hit the ballast. And then
the millisecond you do it, just instantly corrects
it immediately rights itself. So I don't know if there's a trapped air bubble or what. So the other good news, we had good news today. It's breaking our whole karmic issue. So as you guys might have saw when we were testing this, is an absolute freaking rocket. That cylinder motor is it's way overpowered for this boat. But the good news, well, there was a good news, bad news scenario. So the old radio, which is just an old radio, probably circa 1980s, I'd be willing to bet.
Doesn't even have a battery back, so
you
have to hold your fingers across the batteries to make sure you don't, shake it and lose a battery.
Which it worked. I mean, as a starter boat, it would have got your feet wet, so to speak. But the good news is, managed to salvage from old stock this, yay, computerized radio. So I think maybe before we test it, we got to swap that receiver around because then we can tone that throttle back to something more realistic and easier to control. And then we can also put ballast on the switches instead of stick. Because when you put on the stick, a lot of times when you hit ballast, you accidentally hit throttle. Or if you hit throttle, you accidentally hit ballast. So neither of those are good scenarios. So yeah, a little computerized radio. We'll get this thing all tuned up and ready to go. And then what he's working on right now is waterproofing a bunch of batteries for the battle boats. So the battle boats are all tested. They're good to go. We just got to hook them up with a bunch of spare batteries, 4 spare waterproof batteries. So yeah, we're gonna swap over the connectors and rubberize them and do all that fun stuff. All right, these guys, they are leaking all around the seams here, which again, I didn't do, so I'm not sure how these were done. So I'm going to need to grind out these seams and then re-glue and sand and smooth and make pretty and do all of the stuff. So hopefully that will take care of that. Now, I was also getting some leaks coming from here. Now, this has all been completely sealed. I'm really, really, really worried that this PLA print is leaking through the plastic. That would not be a good thing. I'm almost wondering if I should cut this free. All right, so mystery solved. This is the PVC pipe that was utilized. Now this is designed as a departure from Otto's design, which is what this is based off of. Otto's 1/12 Seehund, so this is twice as big. In Otto's design, this is just like a cylinder that you print, and then this press fits with an O-ring. This obviously is a little bit different. I believe Steve made these adapters because these didn't just scale up nicely and fit in here. So he had to make a little adapter, which is fine. So I chopped this out. Now, this is why it was leaking. Looks like honeycomb, doesn't it? So he printed it with an infill as opposed to printing it solid, which kind of sucks. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a problem in the slightest at all. So these are all solid, 100% out of ABS plastic. It's not worried about that. But now what I've got to do is make an adapter, and I've got all the measurements here. That'll make up for the lost length, which in this case is 3 inches. And that'll make these torpedoes exactly 4 feet long, which is pretty big. It's a pretty big torpedo. So I got to go ahead and do that and get those queued up. I'll get those printed at obviously 100% infill. And then I'll be able to put the nose cones on. And I think I'm going to make that just permanent. This is going to be a permanent installation on the end there. So that's what I get to do next. Friday morning, end of the week. Got a lot of cool stuff planned. I just put Flying Sub out on the porch for pickup for UPS today. So customer paid the final invoice and off it goes. That is exciting because now we're clearing up room on the bench. I really want to focus on the torpedoes here. Let's take a quick look at that. But before we do, let's check in with Logan.
Well, first thing in the morning, got stand made and painted, and I am now highlighting the lettering on the sides of the boats. So far I've gotten the word arena in on one side.
Oh yeah, let me zoom in a little bit. There you go. That looks really good.
Yeah, it only takes a couple seconds, but pops quite a bit against the nice bright colors, makes them look really nice.
Yeah, so these are basically going to get finished up and shipped out Monday. Yeah, they'll be all good to go. The guy that did the files up, the project owner, I guess you could say, is doing some revisions based on what we learned here, and that'll be kind of the final deal. He's sending that prototype out for us to build. I just found out that this morning. Got another one to build. But fortunately, we know what we're doing now, so in theory, they're going to go a little faster than the last ones. But the neat thing is, he says he wants to get rolling on these and launch them as a product. So once we get them all locked in, we'll do a really cool video. And if you guys think that they're really cool and you want to play with them yourself, you'll have them available to purchase. And we'll have them up on the website. You can have battles between yourselves, you and your kids, you and your grandkids, you and your friends. It's a ton of fun. Trust me. Like, what do you think, Logan?
Oh, these are a blast to use. That's absolutely fun.
Yeah, they're really, really fun. So look for those coming up in the next few weeks. I'm going to do my newsletter It's the first today. I'm slacking. I'll have to do it tomorrow. Yeah. Oh well. Okay. Let's get to work. So torpedoes. This is what we've got here. Although I'm not going to be able to do this with one hand. And here's the adapter I printed. And I've yet to push this in. But this is all going to be one piece. I'm going to fuse this permanently together. And then this, once it's done, will go in like that, which fits really nicely. I'm happy with my work. And then all I need to worry about, because that's going to be permanent and waterproof and never have to worry about it, is the other side, which has all the access and everything in there. So the other part's printing. I'm going to go check on it right now, make sure it's still working, but I'm going to glue that in. And then in theory, we should have one torpedo almost ready for trimming. And of course, the only thing I'm worried about, I don't think we have enough weight. That's going to take a lot of ballast to ballast that bad boy down. Here is our Friday project, or my Friday project. You guys might have remembered this poor 23 that came all crushed and nasty looking. Got a new lid for it. Customer kind of found one of these and sold it to me cheap. So we have a new lid for this. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like any of the bolts line up, which is somewhat problematic. But we'll get that figured out at any rate. This is going to be a surface runner. So I'm going to take today, I'm going to see how far we can get to just make this a surface runner. That's the goal. So we're going to begin by tearing out some of this stuff. Here's the old pressure vessel for the Freon that powered the torpedoes. Now I'm going to leave the torpedo launchers in place. And there's linkages in here for the torpedo shutters. I don't know. I'll take like 2 seconds and see if I can get those working again. If not, I'm not worried. We'll glue them shut. But if we can, hey, it'd be kind of cool. So we're just going to go ahead and snip off and remove all of these hoses and things that are not going to be utilized. And yeah, we're going to see if we can populate the watertight box, get that watertight, and then get this thing working. All right, let's take stock of where we are at here right now. I've repaired the forward dive planes, so these are installed. They're not going to do anything because they're going to be a surface runner, but they'll look cool. Repaired the torpedo shutters, so they're in place but not actuated. I've also tested the servos. All three of these are functional. The throw on them is abysmal, like absolutely abysmal. You know, I might be able to move the pivot point or the attachment point inward to get some more throw there, but all of the linkage horns are buried underneath this tray, which, and I'm not even sure how this works, because all of this is glued in, so there's no access to the, I don't know, to the bottoms. The other thing that's interesting, and I don't know what is up with this wiring. We've got 2 green wires going to the motor, and then there's I assume that's a switch underneath there. I wonder if one of these servos is attached to that, and that just is like forward, neutral, reverse. I wonder if that's a dual pull, dual throw switch to do forward, neutral, and reverse. That'd be kind of silly. But at any rate, I'm going to do away with all of that. Only need one servo. So got to grab a speed controller. We'll hook that up to here. But once that's done, between the speed controller and the rudder, that is all the functions of a surface runner. So I can go ahead and do that. And then we're going to start working on the waterproof lid. That's going to be interesting because we really got to find out if this thing is going to keep all the water out. Progress on the 23 is coming along nicely. I'm good with it so far. So I bound it temporarily to the Seaview radio. So thanks for Stan for lending me his radio without me asking. So we got this was supplied by the customer. This is the TDR10 tandem radio. I got a big 3300 lithium polymer battery in there, and I got everything hooked up. Now, the linkages for the rudder are completely and utterly inaccessible. I'm not entirely sure how this is built or why it's built this way so that you can't access the horn, but the rudder is not centered. You can see it's off to the side, and the throw is not stupendous. So that's got to get adjusted, but the motor seems to work well. Nice and smooth. I like it. So now I got to figure out how to get under this rudder servo. I got a hunch I got to take all these screws out, pull the servo out, but I don't know how to adjust things when it's in place, which is kind of helpful. No, I'll play with it. All right, I just decided to pull everything out. So this whole mounting bracket is all broken free of the sides, but you can see at one time it was permanently glued in. So I have a hunch when this was put together, like you kind of assemble this whole thing, slide it in, and then it's locked in, and then you're done forever. I don't know. Maybe I'm not understanding it, but at any rate, now I got to try and get this servo out. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these out because they're not useful anymore as a surface runner, and get the servo mounted in here, hopefully upright. I'll make a connector to go to the rudder linkage, and I should be able to greatly increase the rudder throw and the adjustability of the whole system. All right, we have a plan. All right, well, I've been working on the bottom. Logan's been working on the top. What all did you do to this poor thing?
So far, clipped off this previous periscope with the hope of replacing it with this nice white metal replacement.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good. And we've got some of the detail parts, although I'll admit I'm kind of struggling to figure out what the heck half of these things are.
No, we'll run through it. But you can see like that round one in the front there. Right there. Right, the big round one. Yep, that goes in the very front. Yeah, so you have to cut out that little shelf that's already in there, and then that replaces it.
And it seems like this would go on top of it.
Yeah.
And then one of these would get inserted through these holes, I think.
Yeah, and then that periscope can go in it. But yeah, so we're working on. He cleaned up all the seams in the bottom. That's all getting sanded. Looking way better. And this is what I got going on here. So you can see the new servo arrangement. I reused the mounting brackets, but the difference is now you can actually pull the servo out and make changes and stuff. So you just loosen off the screws, take that wheel collar off the linkage, and then the servo just lifts bloop, straight up, and it's off. And then you'll also see right back here, whoa, right there, there's a wheel collar, which gives you adjustability for centering the rudder. And now you can see way better throw. Actually, too much throw, but I can adjust that through the transmitter. So now all I got to do is make a little tray for our speed controller and our receiver, and get to working on the waterproof container. All right, things are going good here. This actually looks kind of professional going on here, except Logan forgot 2 holes. I'm going to cut those open. So this is the new lid. We got foam tape on the inside. Now, the interesting thing about this, because it's a surface runner, when we take a look at this, you know, the water line is going to be, you know, about up here. So this is not actually going to get a lot of water on it. It's going to get splashes, but not, you know, immersion in water. So we just need to make it, you know, seal such that it keeps the water out from just an occasional little splashy thing. which is obviously very good thing. I'm going to be fixing these little guards here right now, and to that end, I think we'll flip this over, and we want to make sure that these are reinforced because these are already compromised now. So we're going to put some brass reinforcement rods in there, and that's the wrong side, and then those should have a better chance of surviving long term. So I got a 3/32 rod drilled through here, and I've also drilled each one of these to accept it. And the way I did that, drilled that through level, put the thing on, and then ran the bit through, so everything all kind of lines up right now. I just need to make sure that the rod is the correct length, and then double check the orientation of all of the parts, and glue it all together. All right, guys, I'm a little bit confused there. I need somebody who is familiar with a 32nd parallel to chime in on this, because it is freaking ridiculous. So I found hardware to screw this down. The lid is down. I got washers underneath. You have to peel this back, obviously, to get to these, but they're so close to the edge that you can't get a socket on it. Like, did I put this lid on upside down? Is it supposed to go into the boat? I suppose it could. Let me try. I guess I can pull this. I don't know. Well, I am just about done with this lid. Figured out that I had it upside down according to 32nd parallel. So fine, peeled off all my seals, put new seals on, flipped it over, and now it won't seat all the way down. Those bolts are basically flush with the top of the lid, which is super awesome. No way to screw it down. This is just a nightmare. I don't know how this was ever an idea of being a good idea, but you can see how flexible the hull is here, and you got to kind of like peel this thing in and like wedge it, and I don't know. It's just not a good scenario. So what I think I'm going to do is forget that whole lid situation and make my own, just out of a piece of clear polycarbonate, or actually acrylic. I think I'll probably use acrylic. Just cut a little piece, go around, drill holes, and then you can see in. Yeah. But that's going to have to happen next week, because we're running up on the end of the day and we still need to run and drop off packages. So away we go to do that. All right, guys, you're watching this, and I've time traveled a little bit, because we shot the whole like exit to the week's video, which is what this is right now, but all the audio was garbled. So shot it all, went and sat down, edited video, went to this clip, and it was all messed up. So now I'm back in the shop. Logan's doing his homework, and I get to do the exit all by myself, which is awesome, because we needed a little more work to do, of course. But not a super productive week, thanks to that, you know, flu that I fought with, and passport applications and all of that stuff. That's all over and done with. But we still made some pretty good progress on things. Battle boats are going to get out of here on Monday. Got a really good start on this 32nd parallel Type 23. Hopefully Monday, Tuesday, this will be in the water. Despite the debacle with the lid on this, I can knock out a new lid really quickly, and you'll have, you know, clear access panel. You'll be able to see what's going on inside the boat, which is probably a really, really good thing. Logan's Kilo is almost ready to go, and he started on a new project. I want to show this to you. So you guys probably recognize Proteus from Fantastic Voyage. This is the plastic model kit. and it's actually a really, really cool one. Now, Logan's idea was to make this a display model, kind of work on it in his free time, you know, paint it up and then offer it for sale for, you know, a collector or whatever. But we were thinking, which is at times a very dangerous thing to do, particularly when you've also already got lots and lots of stuff on your plate. This would actually be really easy to RC. And by really easy, I mean very doable. If we take a look at this thing, the challenge with the whole design are these little tiny squirty nozzles. That's what the propulsion is supposed to come from, which is just like ridiculous. But if you were to open this up and this up, you'd have huge area for flow with an internal ducted prop pushing water directly over dive planes and rudders. You would get amazing pitch and yaw response from this little guy. It would go like crazy. No need to actuate the forward dive planes because you'd have awesome pitch control just from those stern planes. Big intakes in the sides, in the front, and in the bottom if you leave that hatch open. And then the other neat thing about this, which we were talking about, is Logan would still be able to do his interior because that's all modular and removable. So you could just pull the box out, drop the interior in, and you would have a really awesome display model. So like, how cool is that? Really? Like, come on now. The problem is nobody's commissioned us to build one of these things yet. And to build one just hoping somebody buys it is not super smart from a business perspective. But Logan's really excited about this. So somebody out there surely would love to have a little RC Proteus. And if you are, reach out to me. Let's see if we can make something happen. I think it would be a fairly quickish build and it would be super fun to do. So there you go. Well, with that, I think we are going to let you guys go for this week. A couple of things, though. If you're a DiveTribe member, I promised that you were going to get into the draw for that 48-inch Nautilus. Had that draw, Mike Gleason won that. I reached out to him. He said that he was super thankful and that we're doing awesome things here at the Dry Docks, but he didn't need that and he wanted to pass it along to the next person. So I'm going to do a redraw tomorrow morning, let the next person know. So if you're a DiveTribe member, check your email, and because of this happening, you got one more day. If you sign up for the DiveTribe membership today, before the end of the day, you'll get into the draw too for that 48-inch resin Nautilus kits that I highlighted in my previous week's update video. With that, I think we're going to leave you with a couple videos to ponder about. Here is the flying sub that we just finished up. Here's the old flying sub that we did. Hope you like them. With that, you guys have a great weekend. We will catch you next time.